Hey everybody, Real Estate Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about new home sales. The prices of them are dropping. And it's interesting because we're at that time where we're getting data from different sources other than the Fed, because the Federal Reserve isn't tracking those numbers real tightly. They're not putting out charts with the St. Louis Fed or the Fred. And we're getting information from the home builders. We're showing their slower sales, them accepting less profit on each unit built. We're seeing stories out of companies like this, wolfstreet.com, where they're tracking this data. And every time, a lot of people, I've talked about this multiple times before. I've went around to Centex and Toll Brothers, all these massive home builders, and I'm seeing all over the map, especially in Nevada and around the country, we're seeing incentives. You could go on to Lennar and you could see all of the incentives they're offering, where they're giving you all these upgrades for free. They'll buy down your rate. Every time they do that, they make less profit, which means the price of that new home goes down. We are also seeing lowering prices. About a year ago, we saw Lennar put red lines through their price and saying, look, it's 10% less. They figured out real quick that that was a bad sign, so they didn't want that. So what they did is they just changed the price altogether, all black letters, no red line, right? This is a great sign, because who wouldn't want to buy a new house over a used house? Home sales are collapsing right now, and the price is adjusting. Now, the lowest price homes in the nation, they're still going to sell. They always sell. The lowest price home, the price dictates the sale every single time, right? But these are the things that you want to see, and it gets bigger and better, and then you get excited and you go, you know what? I'm just going to take my time and I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait this thing out, especially as rates stay higher for longer. Now, the story is entitled Prices of New Houses are down 19% from the peak, the lowest since June of 2021, while sales of new houses held up, while sales of existing houses plunged. It says the median price for new single-family houses that were sold in February fell to $400,500, the lowest since June of 2022, down by 7.6% from February of 2023, and down by 6.3% from February of 2022, according to data from the Census Bureau today. Compared to the peak in October of 2022, the median price has dropped by 19.4%. That's the median price for new single-family homes, all right? The 3-month moving average, which irons out some of the monthly ups and downs, fell to $411,700, which is the lowest since September of 2021. Prices here do not include the substantial costs of mortgage rate buy downs these companies are doing, that home builders use to stimulate sales in this market where sales of existing homes have plunged. Mortgage rate buy downs lower the monthly payment, but do not lower the contract price of the house. Prices here also include other incentives, such as free upgrades. I told the story a few weeks back that I went into Toll Brothers, and this was classic. They had just had a $30,000 free upgrade sale. They upped that to $50,000 in free upgrades. And I was trying to show my wife something, and I said, look, this is where we are in the market. So watch how I'm asking the salesperson, okay, so you've got the $50,000 in free upgrades. She goes, oh yes, free upgrades, $50,000. And I explained to my wife, right in front of the lady, this is so that they can help keep their prices up, but also their subcontractors in business. This is a prime example of during the Great Recession, I had a lot of friends in the construction industry, own their own businesses, general contractors. And the one thing that killed all of them is keeping their employees busy through the slow times, and it bankrupted all of them. Payroll is one of the things on your balance sheet that sucks up free cash so fast, it's crazy. And they didn't see the sign of the time, so they were keeping their guys busy. And all of my buddies were having their employees working on their own homes. They were just like, here, just do this. Like, we got to keep you busy. So I'll do that remodel that I've always wanted to do. And in all reality, none of them could afford it anyway, and they lost their butts, all right? Well, this is an example of a huge conglomerate doing that, right? So then I said, okay, 50,000 free upgrades. What about if are you buying down rates? Oh, yep, we're buying down rates. If you'll use our lender, our preferred lenders, we will buy down the rates. All right, cool. So I get a discount if I take out a mortgage. What if I pay cash? And she goes, oh, you know what? Let me call about that, because I'm pretty sure there is an all cash discount as well. I'm like, okay, so it doesn't really matter how I'm gonna buy the house. You're marking it down. And she goes, well, I guess if you think of it that way. So that's what's really happening in the realm of real estate. It's just not being covered in the mainstream press right now. Now it says here, lower the price and they will come. Home builders sold 60,000 new homes in February, not seasonally adjusted, up a tad from January and up by 7.1% from a year ago. Remember, the rates were really freaking a lot of people out last year, and they peaked, they came up even higher in September, and now that they've dropped down a little bit, people rushed in. This is something that I explained would happen. This is normal buyer psychology. They think that, okay, now that it's lowering, we're back, baby. We're gonna be lower, lower, lower. The Fed's just gonna lower rates. That's not the case. Now, compared to February 2019, sales were down only 4.8% despite the 7% mortgage rates, while sales of existing homes plunged by 19% compared to February of 2019. Why is February 2019 important? Well, the banks were in a lot of trouble. The economy was slowing down rapidly. We were headed into a recession. It was not being reported that much in the mainstream press, and then it wasn't until September of 2019 when the interbank lending rate spiked to 12.5%. And again, I have to give you a backdrop of comparison to size. The interbank lending rate, the rate at which banks lend to each other overnight to settle up their balance sheets, how much they put out in loans compared to how much they brought in deposits, right? The last two times it spiked to 6% and 6.5% was 9/11, the week of 9/11, and the week Lehman Brothers collapsed, respectively. 6% and 6.5%. To go to 12.5% in September of 2019, things were really bad. None of the banks trust each other. The Federal Reserve was in trouble, and they go, look, we've got to start opening the repo window and helping these banks. And then ironically, a flu happened. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like 6 weeks later, out of China, and then all of a sudden release the flu, and then we can just print money like crazy. Again, repeating a 100-year cycle of the 1918 Spanish flu, which led to the 1920 Great Depression, okay? Like, you can't make this stuff up. So it says the fact that sales of new houses are hanging in there despite 7% mortgage rates shows that home builders have figured out this market, and they're running circles around homeowners trying to sell. So what's going on is, just because they're offering 1 year, 2 year, even 3 year, or even more rate buy downs, people are diving into that. All they care about is the monthly payment. They don't care about what's happening with the price of the new home that's dropping 19%. They just care about the payment. See, this is the exact same scenario that got us into the Great Recession. And that's why I'm foaming at the mouth to get ready, okay? So this is the time to get ready, not to be, for me, I'm sitting on the sidelines. I have very little real estate in comparison to my other holdings of precious metals, cryptocurrency, and cash. And I've got some bond exposure. But my point being is that I am mostly liquid, waiting to pounce on a real estate crash. Hope you guys got something out of this. Thank you so much for watching. The Real Estate Ninja is out.